called it justice for the South, but behind the gun that fired that night lay an invisible empire of greed, vengeance, and political power. A president who freed the slaves, a nation still bleeding from war, and a secret network that believed one bullet could change the course of history. This is the untold web behind the death of Abraham Lincoln, the assassination that reshaped America's throne forever. You're watching History Unsealed, where forgotten empires and untold truths rise again. Subscribe and join us as we uncover the secrets that shaped our world. April 1865. The Civil War is ending, the North victorious, the South in ruins. Cities burned, fields empty, brothers buried on opposite sides of history. But for Abraham Lincoln, the war's end was just the beginning of a greater battle to rebuild the Union. And not everyone wanted that peace. In Washington, whispers of conspiracy grew louder. Secret societies, Confederate loyalists, Southern sympathizers, and those who profited from war, all feared Lincoln's new America. An America without slavery meant an end to their power. And among them, one man dreamed of revenge and glory. A charismatic actor named John Wilkes Booth. Booth was adored on stage, handsome, dramatic, famous across the nation. But off stage, his charm hid something darker. He saw Lincoln not as a hero, but as a tyrant who had destroyed the South's honor. By 1864, Booth had gathered a small circle, not just fanatics, but insiders, former Confederate agents, soldiers, and informants. Their goal wasn't murder at first. It was abduction, to kidnap Lincoln, trade him for Confederate prisoners, and reignite rebellion. But when General Lee surrendered, desperation twisted into rage, and the plan changed from capture to execution. In taverns and boarding houses across Washington, Booth's network met in secret. They drew maps, smuggled weapons, and memorized Lincoln's routes. Each had a role. Lewis Powell to strike the Secretary of State, George Atzerodt to kill the Vice President, and Booth to strike the President himself. But what made this more than a madman's plot was who may have known about it. Documents later hinted that Confederate intelligence officers in Canada were aware of Booth's plan, and that the assassination was part of a broader Southern revenge operation. If true, Lincoln's death wasn't just personal, it was political. April 14th, 1865. The war is over. Washington glows with celebration. Lincoln decides to attend a play. Our American cousin at Ford's Theater. He arrives smiling, tired but peaceful. The nation's most hated man, now its most beloved. At 10:15 p.m., Booth enters the president's box. One shot behind the ear. The laughter of the audience turns to screams. Booth leaps to the stage, shouting, "Sic semper tyrannis," thus always to tyrants. The motto of Virginia, the cry of rebellion. Lincoln slumps in his chair, silent, mortal, gone before dawn. The city descends into chaos. Martial law, suspicion, fear. Booth flees south through swamps and forests, aided by Confederate sympathizers. For 12 days, he evades capture, until Union soldiers corner him in a Virginia barn. When he refuses to surrender, they open fire. Booth falls, whispering his last words, "Useless, useless." But his death didn't end the mystery. It deepened it. Letters, secret codes, and hidden correspondence surfaced, suggesting Booth's conspiracy reached far beyond his small circle. Some pointed toward Confederate agents in Canada, others toward powerful figures who benefited from Lincoln's death. Even Secretary of War Edwin Stanton, who took swift control after the assassination, was accused of hiding information. Was he protecting the nation or protecting secrets? 8 conspirators were arrested, tried by military tribunal, and sentenced. 4, including Mary Surratt, the first woman executed by the U.S., were hanged. But historians remain divided. Were they truly all guilty, or scapegoats in a rush for justice? Stanton sealed thousands of government files, many never reopened for a century. When they were, entire sections were missing, burned, redacted, erased. The truth of who really ordered Lincoln's death remains buried. Under layers of politics, loyalty, and fear, Lincoln's assassination shattered the dream of a gentle peace. In his place rose men less forgiving. Reconstruction hardened, and the wounds of the Civil War deepened. Booth died a fugitive, but his dream, a divided America, outlived him. The bullet fired that night didn't just kill a man. It silenced the one voice that might have healed a nation. History remembers Abraham Lincoln as the savior of the Union. But behind the curtain of heroism and tragedy lies a question that still haunts America's past. Was Lincoln killed by one man's rage, or by an invisible hand that feared his vision of freedom? If you believe history is never as simple as it seems, then subscribe and stay with us as we uncover the hidden empires, betrayals, and untold stories that shaped our world.